Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share, and subscribe. Enjoy today's episode.
Chen Beiyuan took Mr. Chen's minor worries very lightly. The Chen family's ability to control most of the empire's military power was not just a boast, but a real result. There are other top aristocratic families who don't covet the power in the hands of the Chen family and want to replace it, but who really dares to take action. The ancestor of the Chen family died immediately after killing an 8th-grade ferocious beast and seriously injuring an 8th-grade ferocious beast, causing the Donghua Chen family to fall into a precarious situation. But Mr. Chen was able to break through the 8th-grade war emperor so coincidentally, directly stabilize the situation and deter all parties. The water in this is very deep. The Donghua Chen family is not as simple as imagined. In the original work, even if Lin Xiao, the son of fortune, wanted to overthrow the Donghua Chen family, he had to use internal and external methods, collude with the ferocious beasts and aliens on the border, use traitorous methods, and then unite with a top family to stab him in the back. The knife, in the end, is only half the battle. In some respects, even the imperial family has to be wary of the Donghua Chen family. What's more, this is a joint stock country with a powerful great emperor. Even as powerful as the royal family, it is impossible for them to do whatever they want. There are some things that can easily arouse public outrage if done. Mr. Chen, don't worry. As long as the old man is still here, the sky will not fall. Chen Beiyuan comforted Mr. Chen in front of him meaningfully. I understand. Mr. Chen nodded silently. As the next heir of the Donghua Chen family, the young man in front of him must know much more than him. Immediately, Mr. Chen's figure retreated into the shadows and disappeared out of thin air. Chen Beiyuan knew very well that Mr. Chen had left the room and relied on his special high-level fighting spirit, Shadow, to lurk somewhere outside the room to secretly protect his safety. The high-level fighting spirit, Shadow, awakened by Mr. Chen, is extremely special. It not only has extremely strong lethality, but also has terrifying concealment capabilities. He is a natural killer talent. Sometimes, if used properly, it may be even more powerful than some top fighting spirit. What's more important is that Mr. Chen is almost die-hardly loyal to the Chen family, the kind who would sacrifice his life at critical moments. This is why Mr. Chen arranged for Mr. Chen to be the guardian for Chen Beiyuan. Chen Beiyuan didn't have too many taboos. He directly put his hand into his pocket and actually took out the wordless medical classic through the system space. This is the strongest gold finger that Lin Xiao relied on to rise. Chen Beiyuan looked at the wordless medical classic in his hand, flipped it through casually, and immediately revealed a blank piece of paper. But when his eyes fell on the paper, the snow-white page suddenly bloomed with a golden light, and tadpole symbols began to appear and group together. Chen Beiyuan's deep and cold eyes seemed to reveal an indescribable surprise, and a strange arc gradually appeared on his calm face, and he said to himself, "Only those with destiny and luck can see the contents of the scriptures." Who said only son of fortune can see it? I am a destined villain, but I am also a person with destiny and luck. As Chen Beiyuan read through, the strange medical skills and special methods recorded in the wordless medical scripture were revealed to him one after another, and the mysterious veil was unveiled. Its exquisiteness even amazed Chen Beiyuan. There is such a mysterious technique in the world. Suddenly, his movements paused, but his eyes suddenly stopped on the content of the next page. The poison of illusion. Take the heart of the illusory beast and supplement it with the water of Tianjin, then add 99 and 81 spiritual things, and smelt it with the fire of the heart. During this period, the mind and spirit must be united, the will is firm, and no mistakes can be made. Otherwise, there will be consequences. It may cause the mind to fall into chaos and be corrupted by the poison of falsehood. Note: the quality of the material will affect the specific effect of the poison of illusion. This poison is colorless and odorless. Once a cultivator under the 7th grade war emperor is poisoned, his cultivation will be exhausted, even if it is a 7th grade war emperor. Even if the emperor is not careful for a moment, he will also be affected. What was recorded on this page was clearly the configuration method of the poison of illusion that Lin Xiao wanted to use to murder him. Under the 7th Grade War Emperor, once one is attacked, one's cultivation level is considered useless and one can only choose to rebuild it. Even if the 7th Grade War King is hit, he will be affected, which will require him to use strength to suppress the poison, and his strength will be weakened a lot. Such a terrifying poison technique can almost be said to be a must-have skill for Lin Xiao in the early stage of Son of Fortune, the Yin and the behind-the-scenes stick. Normally, the poison of illusion can be poisoned to the purpose through various channels, and there is no need to use Leng Ruobing as the medium like in the beginning. It's a pity that Lin Xiao has no access to Chen Beiyuan's normal diet. If he deliberately gets close to him, he will attract the attention of Donghua Chen family. If he does not do well, it will lead to death. For this reason, Lin Xiao finally chose a dangerous strategy and used Leng Ruobing as the medium for poisoning. Of course, in addition to this reason, there should be another reason why the poison of illusion in Lin Xiao's hands is not of high quality. After all, if you want to refine this strange poison, you need too many special materials, and for the materials, the requirements are also extremely high, and even Lin Xiao's godfather can't give him much help. In that case, even Lin Xiao couldn't be sure that the low-quality void poison would be effective on me, so he could only choose to poison me in a deep way. If I had changed my original body, I'm afraid I would have been succeeded by you at this moment. Unfortunately, you met me. The medical scriptures and strange poisons you relied on have now become powerful weapons in my hands to protect the Tao. Chen Beiyuan smiled and looked at the wordless medical scripture in his hand with admiration. Unlike Son of Fortune, who was born as a commoner, as a destiny villain, he has the most elite background in the entire empire. The refining materials for Poison of Illusion were extremely rare treasures for Lin Xiao, and it took a lot of effort to get them together. But for Chen Beiyuan, although it is not a weed that can be seen everywhere on the roadside, it is not too rare. It's very simple to put it all together. Once the refining is successful, he will have a powerful trump card. This trump card has a certain effect even on the 7th Grade War King. Only the first few pages of the medical scripture contain this strange poison of falsehood. I'm afraid there will be something even more powerful in the back. Chen Beiyuan suppressed the restlessness in his heart and wanted to open the content at the back, but he seemed to be blocked by a special force and could not open the page. Is it because I'm not cultivated enough? I still can't see what's behind it? He frowned and suddenly remembered something. In the original work, the Wordless Medical Sutra and Extreme Profundities Dragon Transformation Sutra, obtained by Lin Xiao, are not entities, but two spiritual marks that appear deep in the soul. Lin Xiao did not get all the contents of the two scriptures at the beginning, but as his cultivation level got higher and higher, he gradually unlocked the more mysterious and profound information of the two scriptures in his mind. Thinking of this, Chen Beiyuan couldn't help but look at the blank medical scripture in his hand, with a strange expression on his face. Wordless medical scripture, only. The word only is extremely eye-catching. The wordless medical classic in my hand is either a systematic copy, or this medical classic is the original. And the possibility of the latter is extremely high. Soon, Chen Beiyuan suppressed the turbulent emotions in his heart, put the wordless medical scripture back into the system space, and murmured silently. 3 days are enough for me to refine the Poison of Illusion trump card. I can also understand the contents of the medical scriptures and improve my medical skills. At that time, I can go to Donghua Academy, get my reward, and bathe in the dragon's blood pool. However, if we do nothing during these 3 days, Lin Xiao, the Son of Fortune, will be too leisurely. It's better to give him some trouble. Housekeeper. Snapped. Chen Beiyuan snapped his fingers. An old man with gray hair wearing a housekeeper's uniform pushed the door open and saluted naked. Master Chen, what are your orders? Have several people report to Donghua University on real name basis that the top management of the school, Qian Baizong, blatantly violated the school rules and accepted student Lin Xiao as his godson. He also used public services for personal gain, misappropriated logistics resources, and deducted materials from other students to support his godson's cultivation. In the past, he had been holding back just to break out at this moment. Chen Beiyuan considers himself a member of Donghua Academy. With his upright character, he naturally does not want to see such a cancer in Donghua University and continue to harm the reputation of the school. Then arrange for a few people to report with real names. By the way, let the reporter from the Imperial Daily News go over and do an interview. Just arouse the anger in the hearts of Donghua students. Even if Lin Xiao and his godfather die, they will still have to shed their skin. Of course, Mr. Cheong has connections with the Donghua principal, so he might be able to ask him to take action to suppress the matter. However, there is no endless kindness in this world. Donghua University, Medical Center. Lin Xiao, who had woken up, was staring at the ceiling blankly, with a hint of numbness and death in his eyes. At this moment, his injuries were almost fully recovered under the treatment of the academy's doctors. But compared to the physical injuries, the heavy damage to the soul and dignity was the reason why Lin Xiao fell into silence. In front of all Donghua students, he knelt on the ground and acted like a dog, barking like a dog. He also had his head stepped on and was severely humiliated by being stepped on the ground. This was more than just tearing his dignity apart. Even his reputation was mostly ruined. No matter how successful he is in the future, some people will clearly remember his dark deeds of being treated like a dog and stepped on the ground. This shame is destined to follow him throughout his life. At this moment, he still clearly remembered the strange looks from the doctors and nurses around him during the time he woke up. It felt like a poisonous thorn piercing deeply into the flesh, taking root, sprouting, and spreading crazily. Chen Beiyuan, the humiliation suffered today will be repaid 100-fold in the future. I, Lin Xiao, hereby make a great vow on my path. One day, when I reach the top, I will slaughter the Donghua Chen family without leaving a single one behind. Chen Beiyuan, not only will you die, but the family behind you and all branches of the Chen family will also die. They will all have to pay for your wrong behavior and pay a heavy price. Lin Xiao cursed in a low voice, his facial expression becoming distorted and ferocious. At this moment, he no longer looked as upright and awe-inspiring as before, like an evil ghost from the abyss of hell. He has never suffered such a big loss since he was a child. Just because he can endure it doesn't mean that he really has the temper of a tortoise who will endure it for the rest of his life. The B********* D bit someone when he was anxious. Just when Lin Xiao started to be helpless and furious, a violent coughing sound appeared next to him, suddenly waking him up. Godfather! Lin Xiao quickly stood up and came to the hospital bed opposite. I saw a skinny old man wearing a loose hospital gown with his sleeves hanging on the ground. His face was covered with age spots and his face was gray. He suddenly woke up and coughed crazily, as if he was choked by something. Lin Xiao was startled and quickly lifted Xiong Lao up, leaned on the hospital bed, fed him hot water, and tapped the acupuncture points on his back with special techniques to relieve the condition. Puff. Perhaps it was Lin Xiao's technique that worked. He suddenly woke up. Xiong Lao, who was coughing crazily, gradually calmed down. He looked at his empty sleeves with turbid eyes. He was stunned for a long time until he saw Lin Xiao in front of him, very sober. Lin Xiao. Godfather, it's me. I'm Shower. Don't worry, Shower will try his best to find the treasure for you to restore your arms. Lin Xiao looked at the lost godfather in front of him and quickly offered words of comfort. At this moment, Mr. Cheong is no longer as high-spirited and arrogant as before. He looks like an old dog with a broken spine and disabled arms. Not only has he lost his energy, but he also has a vague will to die. Lin Xiao naturally couldn't sit idly by and hurriedly used words and pie to inspire his desire to live. Putting aside everything else, why could he die before he could repay his godfather's kindness to him? More importantly, even if his godfather is dead, he is still one of the senior people in charge of the school's logistics resources. The power in his hands has not been lost, and he can continue to provide him with further resources. Under normal circumstances, Donghua Academy would not be able to deprive the godfather of his rights without any reason. This means that he can still chew. No, he can still honor his godfather. Maybe Lin Xiao moved him. or maybe the pie he drew just hit his heart. Xiong Lao's mood became much more stable, and most of the will to die in his eyes dissipated. Just when Lin Xiao couldn't help but want to breathe a sigh of relief. But I heard several loud voices with strong melees and resentment appearing from outside. I, Wang Xiao, reported to Chen Beiyuan with my real name that the senior management of the school maliciously deducted training resources and passed them off as good ones. I worked hard for a year to complete the mission of the school. The 8,000 credits I earned are intended to be exchanged for a 4th-grade spiritual object. I want to use it to assist awakening the fighting spirit. This old dog actually exchanged a broken 4th-grade spiritual object for me. Such behavior is simply outrageous. Old man, you will die if you block my path. I, Xiao Baihe, report my real name to this old man Chen Beiyuan, who is corrupt and perverting the law. My brother is already a peak 2nd-grade warrior. He only needs the assistance of a 3rd-grade spiritual object to introduce the spirit into the body and become a 3rd-grade warrior spirit. Stayed in the school to continue further studies, but because of this old dog's interest, the 3rd-grade spiritual items exchanged were only half effective, and the breakthrough failed in the end, and he was kicked out of the school. I, Wang Baichuan, report with my real name. I have witnessed with my own eyes this old man secretly open the back door for Lin Xiao and quietly entered the school's treasure house to take away public treasures. This old dog is completely heartless. Lin Xiao, you are really capable. You recognized an old dog as your godfather, kowtowed a few times, and then you were able to rise all the way up, taking treasures that don't belong to you and using them for your own purposes. Those loud voices resounded through the entire Donghua Academy one after another, almost stripping off the underwear of Lin Xiao and Mr. Qiong, completely exposing them to everyone. In an instant, the entire Donghua Academy fell into deathly silence, and everyone looked here in disbelief. Soon, the leaders of the school who reacted quickly asked people to arrest several troublemakers. However, what he just said has silently set off a storm in the school like a bombshell. The entire Donghua Academy fell into an inexplicable silence. Inside the ward, Lin Xiao looked in disbelief. He never thought that his relationship with his godfather would be exposed. More importantly, even what he and his godfather did secretly was exposed. It was as if there was a pair of eyes hidden in the dark that saw everything that happened. For some reason, the first person Lin Xiao thought of at this moment was Chen Beiyuan. Bang! The door was suddenly pushed open. A middle-aged man rushed in directly with several members of the law enforcement team. The middle-aged man at the head was surprisingly the vice principal Lu Wenhui. In the sky, many Donghua students have reported you for corruption and perverting the law. Now Donghua University has temporarily revoked your position as the director of the logistics department and conducted an internal investigation. In view of your special situation, you are injured, so there is no need to go to the interrogation room. During this period, you will stay in the medical hospital and are not allowed to leave, waiting for review. As soon as Lu Wenhui opened his mouth, he immediately eliminated Lin Xiao's biggest support at the moment and dismissed Mr. Qiong from his post. Perhaps considering the special relationship between Mr. Qiong and the principal, Lu Wenhui was fortunate that he didn't do everything right and took the person to the interrogation room, leaving some room for him after all. But even so, Lin Xiao was anxious. Principal Lu, Mr. Qiong was wronged. Chen Beiyuan was behind all of this. Lin Xiao, shut up. Do you have any evidence? Who gave you the courage to frame your classmates for no reason? Lu Wenhui scolded him righteously. In view of the fact that you are also involved in this case, Donghua University will temporarily suspend your studies. The university will make a final decision on you after the matter is investigated. Once the matter is true, the school will not only deprive you of your student status, but also transfer you to the Inquisition and hand you over to the Empire for trial. Lin Xiao's face turned pale. He was actually suspended from Donghua University. This means that not only will I not be able to obtain resources from Donghua University in the future, it is even more impossible to get the protection of Donghua University. Puff. Seeing that the situation has gotten so bad, Qiong Lao couldn't hold back his blood pressure, spurted out on the spot, and fainted again. Godfather! Godfather! just when Lin Xiao and his son were in dire straits. As the heroine, Leng Ruobing's situation at the moment is not much better. The sudden attitude and cynicism of the people around her made this glamorous school beauty fall into deep confusion and loss. But before she could react, she received another bad news from the Long family. If Bing is in trouble, the family's listed company has been maliciously attacked. Now the stocks have fallen like waste paper. The Long family has lost at least several billion. Ruobing, are you crazy? Why did you provoke Mr. Chen to make a decision with the Long family? Now the Li family, the Yuan family, and the Yu family have all stopped cooperating with us. Leng Ruobing, you be asterisk asterisk say, what did you do? My son was a good person. How could he be beaten to death in a bar? You did something wrong yourself. Don't implicate the family. Ruobing, I beg you. Go admit your mistake to Mr. Chun, otherwise, everyone in the Long family will die. Ruobing, it's not good. The owner of the house was attacked by a mysterious, ferocious beast and was seriously injured. Now he has been sent to the hospital for rescue. As phone calls continued to come in, curses, pleas, and bad news from family members continued to come. Leng Ruobing felt that her mind went blank, and she stayed in place. Even if the phone fell to the ground, he didn't react. At this moment, I just felt like the sky was falling. Leng Ruobing never dreamed that less than a few hours had passed since Chen Beiyuan's words of making a clean break. Her world was turned upside down. All the Long family's properties were attacked by various forces and were on the verge of bankruptcy. Several large families that had cooperated well before also turned against each other. Not only did they forcibly cancel the previous cooperation, adding insult to injury, they also demanded liquidated damages. Several dandies from the Long family were even jealous of each other in the bar and fell in love with other people's girlfriends. Because they had been relying on the Donghua Chen family's tiger skin for these years, they were used to showing off their power, so they walked away thinking that no one would dare to touch them. As a result, his legs were broken on the spot by a young master from a first-class family. Nowadays, these dandies of the Long family who had their legs broken are still being held in a bar, waiting for the head of the Long family to come and redeem them. Leng Alfing, the head of the Long family, and Leng Ruobing's father, a 6th-grade war king, learned that one of the family's children was being held hostage and wanted to come forward to save them. However, he was attacked by a mysterious beast on the way. He was seriously injured and fell into a coma on the way. Fortunately, he was discovered by a kind person and sent to the hospital. According to the description of well-meaning people at the time, the mysterious beast that escaped had 2 hands, 2 legs, and 1 head, and it looked like a human. After Leng Alfing was sent to the hospital for emergency treatment, the entire Long family lost its backbone and became a mess on the spot, like ants on a hot pot. The Long family, who showed off their power in Yinjing City, suddenly became a bereaved dog. Previously, the Long family, a second-rate family, had reaped a lot of benefits from the tiger skin of the Donghua Chen family, which caused many people to be angry and afraid to speak out. Even wealthy families who are more powerful than the Long family will tolerate it if they can, and if they can't help it, they will tolerate it as much as possible. Who in the entire Yinjing City doesn't know that Leng Ruobing of the Long family is Chen Beiyuan's canary outside? If the Long family is disturbed, it is easy to offend Chen Beiyuan. But when Chen Beiyuan broke up with Leng Ruobing in public, everything was different. Those rich and powerful families who were wary before will no longer be polite. As much meat as the Long family had eaten before, they had to spit out as much meat now. In addition, you have to cut off your own flesh bit by bit, dismantle your own bones, gouge out your own heart, and carve out your own liver to feed those hungry wolves who smell the smell of blood. As Chen Beiyuan said, with his current status, he does not need to do it himself to kill people. With just a word or a look, there will be countless people who want to cling to him to get the job done. Am I really wrong? Leng Ruobing stood there in confusion, looking at the world that suddenly became unfamiliar in front of him, and felt a sense of suffocation gradually envelope him. Ding! Congratulations to the host for changing the original Destiny line. With a crushing force and dimensionality reduction strike, the important supporting character, Xiong Lao, was deprived of his high-level position in the school causing son of fortune Lin Xiao to be suspended from Donghua University and lose he became his biggest reliance, had a severe impact on his mentality and greatly weakened the protagonist's luck in son of fortune Lin Xiao. Ding! Congratulations to the host for receiving a special reward, Wu Dao Pill. Enlightenment Pill, the heaven and earth spirit pill that contains the Tao Yun. Once taken, you will enter the state of enlightenment, and your own understanding and learning ability will be improved 100 times. Maintenance time, 48 hours. Ding! Congratulations to the host for changing the original fate line and severing contact with the lucky heroine, Leng Ruobing, and the Long family behind her in public, so that the blood-sucking insects, parasitic on the Chen family of Donghua, get the cruelty they deserve punishment, and the cold-as-ice soul of the lucky heroine was hit by an unprecedented impact, and she began to feel regret and despair. Ding! Congratulations to the host for receiving a special reward. The Stone of Transformation, Soul Binding. The Stone of Divine Transformation, Soul Binding, an ancient divine stone that contains strange energy. Since this divine stone has been bound to the soul of the host, others cannot use it. Once this divine stone is used, it can forcibly raise one's own cultivation level to a greater level. Duration, half an hour. Afterwards, the user will fall into an extremely weak state, and his cultivation level will be temporarily sealed. Number of uses, 3 times. Chen Beiyuan, who was about to start refining Poison of Illusion, suddenly stopped moving his hands, and his eyes as deep as the abyss suddenly burst into light. Although he had already expected the system prompts, he did not expect that the system experience this time would be so rich. His eyes instantly looked at the 2 special rewards in the system space. Wu Dao Pill, Stone of Transformation. The former is a heaven and earth spirit pill that can temporarily enhance the user's understanding 100 times and enter the state of enlightenment. The latter is an ancient divine stone that can temporarily allow the user to directly forcibly raise a large realm. At this moment, his eyes were almost fixed on the ordinary piece of stone in the system space, like a stone picked up by the roadside. He even ignored the elixir that exuded a mysterious light and subconsciously murmured. He murmured to himself, "There is such a magical thing. It can be forcibly raised to a great level." The 5th grade war commander becomes the 6th grade war king. The 6th grade war king becomes the 7th grade war emperor. The 7th grade war emperor becomes the 8th grade war emperor, and the 8th grade war emperor becomes the 9th grade war god. Although there are quite a few side effects in the number of times it has been used, those small side effects are not worth mentioning in the face of the terrifying effects. Chen Beiyuan dared to say that the value of the Stone of Transformation could no longer be described in words. A divine item of this level cannot even be compared to an 8th grade divine weapon. This thing can be said to be his biggest trump card now. It may even be the strongest trump card for a long time to come. With this trump card in hand, as long as the 8th grade war emperor doesn't take action himself, he has nothing to fear from anyone. In fact, when his cultivation level rises, even the 8th grade war emperor will no longer be a threat. Chen Beiyuan's eyes ignited with the flame of ambition, and he seemed to have foreseen some scenes in the future. However, we still have to find a beast that protects the way, or a puppet that protects the way. It can be used to protect oneself and survive the period of weakness when the cultivation level is temporarily sealed. Although Mr. Chen, the 7th grade war emperor's guardian, is here, but the thoughtful Chen Beiyuan still subconsciously planned to save one more trick. If you can force him to use the magic stone, it will definitely be dangerous. When the time comes, even Mr. Chen may not be able to care about him. At this time, a guardian beast or a guardian puppet will naturally come in handy. With the power of the Donghua Chen family, it is not difficult to simply find a guardian puppet or a guardian beast. But it definitely won't work if his level is low, and it won't have much effect on him. If you are at a high level, the difficulty of getting it will be greatly increased. Let the family members search for it first. Chen Beiyuan knows very well. Whatever he needs, the Chen family will do their best to provide it to him. And his greatest reward for the Chen family is to break through the 8th grade war emperor as soon as possible and suppress family luck. Nothing else can compare to this. No family achievement can compare to an 8th-grade war emperor. Suppressing the turbulent thoughts in his heart, Chen Beiyuan directly took out the Wu Dao pill and swallowed it without hesitation. This intelligence Dao pill allows him to comprehend and master the wordless medical scripture in the shortest possible time, directly catching up with Lin Xiao, the miraculous doctor's medical achievements for more than 10 years, and even surpassing him. Really, heaven and earth are all working together. After being confused, Leng Ruobing immediately prepared to leave Donghua Academy and go back to the Leng family. Originally, she planned to go directly to the hospital to see her father, who was seriously injured and unconscious. But in order to force her to go back, those in the Long family forcibly took the unconscious Long Alfing from the hospital emergency room back to the Long family and threatened that she would not come back for a day and that Long Alfing would not be sent to the hospital for treatment. The elders, who were once kind to her, even flattering and respectful, seemed to have a different look at this moment, as if they wished she was dead. Leng Ruobing actually didn't have much in Donghua University. At most, some clothes were still in the dormitory. But when she thought of the drastically changed faces of her roommates in the dormitory, she decisively chose to give up. But just as she was about to leave the school gate, she was blocked by a familiar figure walking out of the corner. Lin Xiao. Leng Ruobing looked at Lin Xiao in front of her in surprise. At this moment, he was no longer as high-spirited and upright as before. Instead, he looked embarrassed and downcast. But what did that have to do with her? Her expression returned to calm instantly, and she looked at the man in front of her coldly, as if she were seeing a stranger. "What's the matter? If nothing's wrong, please get out of the way." Lin Xiao's face was complicated. Looking at the cool school beauty in front of him, he seemed to have endless doubts and pain in his heart. If the other party's situation at the moment was not much different from his, he would even doubt whether Leng Ruobing had colluded with Chen Beiyuan from the beginning and wanted to murder him. Why did all previous plans fail? Why is there nothing wrong with Chen Beiyuan? Why did he lose so miserably? He must know the truth. And Leng Ruobing must have known something since she was with Chen Beiyuan that night. However, Leng Ruobing's indifferent eyes and cold gaze at this moment undoubtedly hurt Lin Xiao deeply. The son of fortune, who had been feeling aggrieved until now, finally couldn't bear it anymore. Even the peace he maintained on his face disappeared, and he roared like crazy. Why? Why exactly? Ruobing, how could you become like this? You didn't have this attitude towards me before. Don't you hate Chen Beiyuan? Hate Chen Beiyuan? Why did everything change after that night? Why did Chen Beiyuan show no signs of being tricked? Why did I lose so miserably? Did you tell Chen Beiyuan something? Do you know how much I love you? Love me? To love me is to send me to other men's beds. Is this the love you call? Then your love is really perverted, Lin Xiao. I am also stupid, and I would thank you stupidly, so please tell me, if your plan succeeds, who will resist the anger of the Chen family of Donghua? Leng Ruobing looked at Lin Xiao, who was like a mad dog in front of him, with a smile. His eyes showed undisguised contempt, and Lin Xiao was speechless. What can Lin Xiao say? Said that he was watching outside that night and planned to go to the room to peek at him from close range? Witnessing the woman you like being humiliated by your enemies. Lin Xiao wanted to say that he would block the pressure from Donghua's Chen family and protect Leng Ruobing and the Long family, but even he didn't believe such nonsense. Maybe it was because he was speechless when he saw Lin Xiao being criticized. Leng Ruobing felt a refreshing release at this moment, and the pent-up frustration in her heart dissipated a lot. I am also naive. I foolishly believed you and thought you were a good person. But in fact, you are a complete villain. From the beginning to the end, you were using me to achieve your own goals. But have you ever thought that you, who seem to have all your plans, are actually just a clown? You are too arrogant. Chen Beiyuan has known about everything you have done, including all your plans. He is even deliberately cooperating with you. Boom. Lin Xiao felt as if he had been struck by lightning and froze on the spot, his eyes full of disbelief. Chen Beiyuan already knew? No wonder. No wonder. No wonder he lost so miserably. He underestimated the heir of a top family. Just when Lin Xiao fell into self-doubt, Leng Ruobing's next words made him unable to hold back. Lin Xiao, you are really cruel. In order to take advantage of me, you made me willingly sacrifice everything. You deliberately poisoned my mother and made her fall into a coma. Then you deliberately showed the ability to cure this weird disease and made me so grateful to you. If Chen Beiyuan hadn't told me, I'm afraid I would have. Lin Zhao's eyes suddenly widened, and he stared at Leng Ruobing in front of him. What the hell? What deliberate poisoning? Dig a trench. You slammed such a big shit basin on my head? He's not that bad yet, okay? He also has medical ethics. At most, they are deliberately delaying the progress of the treatment to make Leng Ruobing and the entire Leng family more grateful to him. And by the way, they can achieve some of their own goals. Chen Beiyuan, UF asterisk 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 GF asterisk asterisk KME. Leng Ruobing, don't believe Chen Beiyuan. He is just a despicable person. I have never poisoned my aunt. He is all framed by me. Lin Xiao, at this time, you are still messing around, refusing to admit it and trying to frame Chen Beiyuan. You really make me feel sick. Leng Ruobing dodged Lin Zhao's grasping hand, her fair and cold face showing no trace of disgust, and kicked her to the ground. Immediately, ignoring Lin Xiao who was lying on the ground doubting his life, he walked towards the door. At this moment, a heroic laughter came from far away from the north of the empire, with the cheese-swallowing mountains and rivers domineering tone. Today, the imperial border front expanded hundreds of miles to the outside world. Congratulations to my Qin family's Qilin son. The domineering voice was like thunder from the sky, resounding through the entire capital of the empire and instantly alarming the entire city. Shocked faces looked towards the far north of the empire in disbelief. Even Chen Beiyuan, who was meditating on the wordless medical scripture, was startled by this overbearing old voice and stopped what he was doing. Old man. Deep in the imperial palace, a tall and majestic figure opened his majestic eyes and looked towards the north, then slowly stood up. Gu, you are not a stingy person. When the old and domineering voice coming from the northern border front gradually dissipated, I saw a majestic and noble voice suddenly coming from the imperial palace. The Donghuachan family opened up and expanded the territory of the empire and expanded the border front for hundreds of miles. This is a great contribution to the human race. It should be recorded in the history of the empire and spread throughout the world. According to imperial law, those who open and expand territory for the human race can take half of their territory as a fiefdom, which will be passed down for 5 generations. Accompanied by the majestic and noble voice coming from the depths of the palace. In an instant, the entire imperial capital was shaken. All the top families in the empire couldn't help but cast their gaze in the direction of the Chen family, with uncontrollable envy and jealousy in their eyes. All the major wealthy families and small families were also shocked by this earth-shattering news. Even the ordinary people at the lowest level were frightened by this sudden news. You know, opening up a territory and expanding it to 100 miles does not mean that the total area is 100 miles. That calculation is wrong. For example, if a small country pushes the boundary markers on its border 1 meter forward, its total national territory will increase by at least tens of thousands of square meters. It seems to be only a small 1 meter, but the land included is a height that ordinary people would find difficult to reach in 10 lifetimes. The border front of the Donghua Empire extends for hundreds of miles, and the territory it contains is at least no smaller than the 2 large provinces of the Donghua Empire. It is larger than most small countries in the world. This is the fundamental reason why the emperor of the Donghua Empire said that this was a great achievement of the human race and should be recorded in the history of the empire and spread throughout the world. The Donghua people's greed for land is endless. How many people spend their entire lives just to have a piece of land that belongs completely to themselves? With land, there is a place to settle down. This desire is stronger than all money. The land on the border front is already fertile and contains a large amount of untapped raw resources and undiscovered secret realm. The Donghua Empire has long been coveted. Just because it has been occupied by alien races and ferocious beasts, it cannot be mined and used. The empire has internally studied whether to take action many times, but Chen Shanhe, who is responsible for guarding the Great Wall on the border, has remained unmoved and has never thought of taking the initiative. As time went by, those people within the empire who only knew how to talk gradually became quiet. They also knew that if Chen Shanhe, the war emperor of the Chen family, was not willing, even if he received an order from the empire, he would be treated as a piece of toilet paper every minute, and it would be too rough to wipe his butt with. But now, Chen Shanhe took the initiative and directly conquered such a huge territory. It can hardly be said that it expanded the Donghua Empire's territory on the world map. Donghua Academy. Ha 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 ha. Opening up borders and expanding the territory. This is the heroic nature of my Donghua man. Here you go. The border front expands for hundreds of miles. How big is the territory it occupies? It's at least several million square kilometers, right? Hey, wouldn't the Donghua Chen family be able to take away half of it? That's millions of square kilometers of land. Hey, you have an opinion. Those who opened up and expanded the empire have made great contributions to the world, so I only get half of it. I don't think it's too much. You think that war is just playing house, and you have to risk your life. With such a large territory and resources, and the ability to pass it on to 5 generations, the strength of the Donghua Chen family will probably reach a higher level. Listening to the quarrels and discussions that occurred one after another in Donghua Academy, Lin Xiao and Leng Ruobing, who were at the gate of the school at the moment, also had different expressions. Lin Xiao's expression was very cold and ugly, as if all his parents were dead. Leng Ruobing had a complicated look on her face, looking in the direction of the Chen family, wondering what she was thinking. Donghua Chen family. Old man, what a great gesture. Chen Beiyuan, who is in the state of enlightenment, seems to have entered a state of unity between heaven and man, almost integrated with heaven and earth, and his own understanding and thinking ability have been elevated to an unimaginable level. He just thought for a moment and saw the old man's true intention. He had just made such a big commotion at Donghua Academy, which shocked the empire and attracted attention from all parties. Immediately afterwards, Mr. Chen, who had been immersed in the border front for many years, suddenly took action and pushed the alien ferocious beasts across hundreds of miles of territory, causing even greater turmoil. This seems to be just the expansion of territory, but it is not a silent force to deter. The Donghua Chen family's largest gun in the empire is still not rusty. Whoever dares to attack my Chen family's Qiliner, I will shoot you right in the head. Even if Chen Beiyuan is indifferent, he can't help but feel a little warmer at this moment. Non-vegetation, ruthless practice makes perfect. Although he practices demon Tao, but I don't want to become a dehumanizing, ruthless demon. Instead, he wants to become a free and easy demon who can do as he pleases. He knows who is good to him. Now, the Chen family has already eaten the biggest piece of the big cake on the border front. The remaining half will probably cause the top forces to break their heads. The imperial family will definitely take a big share. In addition, there are the Lin family, the Bai family, the Zhu family, the Wei family. None of them will let go easily. They will definitely fight for their own share. Nowadays, the 8th grade war emperors from each family have probably rushed to the border front to start dividing the cake. Chen Beiyuan knew very well that the Chen family could not eat such a big cake and had to share it with each family. Only the top forces gathering the upper echelons of the entire empire can defend such a large territory. The division of interests is inevitable. Eat as much rice as you have in your bowl. If you eat alone, you will easily be hated by others. Nowadays, the Chen family eats the biggest piece of meat and let other forces distribute the rest. And once the Chen family finishes digesting that fat, its overall strength will probably be able to reach a higher level. At that time, as the young master of the Chen family, he will be able to enjoy more benefits. The old man has absorbed most of the pressure now it's up to me. The 18-year-old 5th grade war master is still too young and too eye-catching. There will always be some people who can't sleep well. But it's okay. Only after many times of hard work can you see the true gold of red flames. Chen Beiyuan smiled slightly, looked at the refined poison of falsehood in front of him, and put it away. Immediately, he picked up the wordless medical scripture and continued to meditate on it. Although the Qin family of Donghua is strong, they also have many enemies. These days, who doesn't have a few blood debts under their hands? In the blink of an eye, 3 days flew by. During these 3 days, Chen Beiyuan stayed in his room without even leaving the door or eating. He devoted himself to meditating on the wordless medical sutra day and night. In the past few days, the threshold of Donghua Qin's family has almost been trampled to pieces, and the top forces of the entire empire have come to visit one after another. Nowadays, the Qin family also has a certain say in the big cake on the border of the empire. During this period, Leng Ruobing came to Qin's house, but couldn't even get through the door. In the end, she waited outside the door for a day and a night before leaving sadly. Enlightenment of Dao Pill is really extraordinary. In just 3 days, it helped me understand the complicated scriptures of the wordless medical scripture, which at least saved me several years of accumulation and laid a solid medical foundation for myself. At this moment, in terms of medical skills alone, I am afraid that I have surpassed Lin Xiao, the miracle doctor. After all, Lin Xiao is still just a 4th-grade general. The spiritual imprint of the wordless medical scripture in his mind has been unlocked. There is not as much content as the original version in my hand. It's a pity. It would be great if more people could enlighten the Dao Pill. This kind of magical object is definitely an excellent weapon for practicing secret arts and breaking through realms. Chen Beiyuan's natural, noble, and majestic face also looked a little tired at this moment, and he murmured to himself. After 3 days and 3 nights of continuous meditation, even though Chen Beiyuan's physique was far superior to that of ordinary practitioners, the mental exhaustion made him feel physically and mentally exhausted. I saw him put away the wordless medical scripture in his hand, and immediately took out a black elixir from the white jade medicine bottle and swallowed it directly. The overbearing medicinal properties rush wildly through the body in an instant, quickly restoring physical fatigue and mental exhaustion. This black elixir is called Demon Heart Pill, and it is a special elixir from the wordless medical classic. It has great recovery benefits for those who practice magic skills, and can quickly restore people to their peak state in a short period of time. When Chen Beiyuan discovered that the effect of this special elixir was much better than the Devil Flame Pill, specially supplied to him by his family, he decisively abandoned the elixir supplied by his family and replaced it with Devil's Heart Pill. It has to be said that wordless medical scripture, as the main character of Lin Xiao, the miracle doctor, has endless auxiliary methods hidden in it, including not only the medical skills to save people, the poison skills to harm people, but also the alchemy skills to assist in cultivation. It can be said that, including myriad manifestations, there are no wonders. Chen Beiyuan dared to say that it is not an exaggeration to say that these strange medical scriptures are the best in the world. System. Open the Properties panel. Ding. The Properties panel is open. Host. Chen Beiyuan. Age. 18. Cultivation. War Master Advanced. 5th grade. Exercise. Prison Suppressing Demonic Sutra. 8th level. Wordless Medical Sutra. The only one. Combat skills. Forbidden Demon Destroying Flame Palm. Forbidden Demon Destroying Hell Fist. Forbidden Demon Destroying Blood Slash. Prison Suppressing Shackles. Fighting Spirit. Fate. Destiny Villain. After 3 days of study, the wordless medical scripture also appeared directly on the skill column, indicating that Chen Beiyuan had entered the room and successfully mastered it. It's time to go to Donghua Academy. That's my reward. After Chen Beiyuan briefly freshened up, he opened the door and prepared to leave. But the moment he walked out, he was suddenly startled and saw the one-armed old man Chen waiting outside the door with a broken knife in his hand. Next to Mr. Chen, there was a tall and burly middle-aged figure at this moment. "Dad!" Chen Beiyuan shouted. The middle-aged man in front of him is clearly Chen Beiyuan's father, the current head of the Donghua Qin family, the military boss of the 3rd theater of the empire, Chen Zhiqing. The 1st and 2nd theaters are both directly controlled by the imperial royal family. This new generation of military leader in the Donghua Empire is currently wearing simple uniforms and looks like a handsome, middle-aged uncle. He is not as serious and aloof as ordinary people imagine. Out of seclusion, Chen Beiyuan looked up and down at the son who had left seclusion in front of him. After confirming the high-level cultivation of the 5th grade War Master, he couldn't help but nodded, with a happy smile on his face. Before you retreat, ask the family to help find suitable guardian puppets and guardian beasts. The family has found some, but most of them are a little bit disappointing. It just so happens that there are many people visiting these days. I have asked the Bai family, and people from the Wei family will help with the search, and there will probably be news in a while. Chen Beiyuan was stunned. He didn't expect his father, Chen Beiyuan, to be so concerned about this matter. Bai family, Wei family. These two families are both the top families in the empire, with the 8th grade war emperor suppressing luck. The Donghua Bai family is the family behind Chen Beiyuan's fiancée. It is famous for mastering special beast control methods. It is even known as the beast control family within the empire. The Wei family is the most low-key top family in the empire. Most of the time, they are like transparent people, but no one dares to underestimate this family easily. Because what the Wei family is best at is puppet. Chen Beiyuan knew very well that despite Chen Beiyuan's understatement, it was not easy to ask these two families for help, and it would definitely cost some favors and benefits. There is no free lunch in this world. Even if the Bai family and the Chen family are engaged, some necessary interests still need to be calculated clearly. Although his father Chen Beiyuan's words about the things found by the family were a bit off, Chen Beiyuan was certain that the level of those things would never be lower than the 6th grade War King. The reason why I didn't give it to him directly, but chose to let the other two top families help. Just because a father is always used to doing his best to give the best things to his children. Chen Beiyuan was silent. At this moment, he could clearly feel the silent care and support from his family. You know, even those top aristocratic families are mostly filled with interest disputes, and it is not uncommon for them to fall out at the slightest disagreement. But what the Donghua Chen family gave him more was family affection. This top family, which was tragically exterminated in the original work, may be the only family that values family ties more than interests. In the original work, no matter what choice the original person made, the Chen family chose silent support and support. Even at the moment when the Chen family was about to be destroyed, Chen Beiyuan chose to send his original body away, leaving him alone to bear the greatest pressure. Suddenly, there was a hint of gloom in Chen Beiyuan's eyes, as if he had made a decision. Now that he is here, everything that was destined to happen will no longer exist. Okay, I know you have to go to Donghua University, so let's not talk about it now. However, there is one more thing I want to tell you. The monsters of the younger generation from all the empire's families are returning one after another. They are obviously coming for you. It is not convenient for the Chen family to take action on the matter of the younger generation, so we have to you handle it yourself. Also, that little girl from the Bai family, your fiancée, should be back soon. According to your mother's wishes, your affairs should be settled as soon as possible. She still wants to have a grandson. However, I have reservations about this. After all, you have just turned 18. There is no need to enter the grave of marriage so soon. You can play for a few more years? Chen Beiyuan said nonchalantly. Regarding the previous incidents between Chen Beiyuan and Leng Ruobing, the head of the Chen family didn't even mention it. This kind of thing is nothing. Who has never been young? Who in the entire Yinjing city doesn't know? Donghua Bai's family and Chen Beiyuan's fiancée both knew about Leng Ruobing's existence. But so what? Who cares? Donghua Academy. A cold and beautiful figure wearing a white dress, with skin as white as snow and long flowing hair, was standing at the entrance of the academy. Although she had dressed up carefully in advance, her cold and beautiful face was full of haggardness and fatigue, no longer as arrogant as before. There were still bloodshot eyes and a hint of worry. She glanced at the door from time to time, as if she was expecting someone to appear. Whenever there was movement at the door, she couldn't help but look. But when she saw that the person coming was not the one she was waiting for, she would show a look of disappointment. For the past 3 days, Leng Ruobing has been under great pressure and was on the verge of collapse. In just 3 days, the fat meat of the Long family was divided and dismembered bit by bit after being targeted by countless jackals, tigers, and leopards. Not only did they spit out everything they had eaten before, but all the industries under the Long family were eaten up by various forces. The strong men cultivated by the Long family over the years were attacked by a certain mysterious beast, one after another, either beaten half to death or directly destroyed. The Long family members were reported for a large number of corruption and abuse of power, and were taken away directly by the people of the court of trial. Some Long family members could not bear the pressure and prepared to escape from Yinjing City and seek refuge in other countries. As a result, they disappeared mysteriously not long after leaving Yinjing. Now, the Long family only has one ancestral house left in Yinjing City. All the Long family members hid in it, feeling anxious all day long, and they didn't even dare to go out of the door. They were obviously scared. All the Long family members also changed from wanton humiliation and ridicule to begging, hoping that she would go to Chen Beiyuan to apologize and reconcile. Even Long Alfing, the head of the Long family who had woken up briefly, was no longer as high-spirited as before and became depressed, asking her to try her best to get Chen Beiyuan's forgiveness so that the Long family could survive this disaster. Obviously, the Long family knew that with just one word from Chen Beiyuan, all the crises of the Long family would disappear without a trace in an instant. Even Leng Ruobing knew this. However, when she lowered her head and wanted to find Chen Beiyuan, she couldn't even enter the gate of the Chen family. In the past 3 days, those who were qualified to bring gifts and step into the gate of the Chen family and visit were all the top families and top forces in the empire. During this period, even the imperial family of the empire specially sent people to visit. Leng family? Leng Ruobing? A woman from a nouveau riche family? Sorry, I'm really not qualified. Leng Ruobing endured the weird, mocking, disdainful, playful eyes of the guests coming and going, and stood at the gate of the Chen family for a day and a night, hoping that Chen Beiyuan would be willing to come out to see her. Unfortunately, she obviously overestimated herself. From beginning to end, she didn't even see the shadow of Chen Beiyuan. When she returned to the Long family with a face full of disappointment and a lost soul, she heard another piece of bad news. Her mother, who had been in a coma, suddenly disappeared. This news instantly became the last straw that broke the camel's back for Leng Ruobing and directly shattered the dignity of this lucky heroine. It's the third day. He will come. He will come. Leng Ruobing's eyes were slightly lowered. Her fingertips grasped the corner of her white skirt. Her body was trembling slightly. Her face was pale, without a trace of blood. Not far away, Lin Xiao looked at the white-clothed figure that could be blown away by a gentle breeze, and he was also heartbroken. He also knew the situation of the Long family clearly in the past few days, but he was powerless. At this moment, he couldn't protect himself. Originally, he was ordered by Donghua Academy to suspend his studies and could not continue to stay in the academy, and he had to leave. But Lin Xiao was afraid that he would be blocked by the people of Donghua Chen family when he left the academy gate. For this reason, he has been staying in the academy, saying that he would stay to take care of his seriously injured godfather. The school leaders took into consideration the special relationship and status between Mr. Cheong and the principal, and ultimately did not drive Lin Xiao away. It can be said that in the past 3 days, not only Leng Ruobing, the heroine of luck, was tossed around. Even Lin Xiao, the son of fortune, was manipulated to the point where he didn't want to be left behind. Chen Beiyuan, you really deserve to die. Lin Xiao roared crazily in his heart, but he could only unleash incompetent rage. At this moment, there was nothing he could do about Chen Beiyuan. On the contrary, he was manipulated by the other party. Just when Lin Xiao fell into an incompetent rage, Leng Ruobing in front suddenly heard the movement. He raised his eyes and saw a noble figure getting out of the car, and he couldn't help but feel happy. For some reason, after seeing that familiar yet unfamiliar figure, the annoyance deep in her heart instantly disappeared without a trace. Beiyuan. Leng Ruobing's face was filled with unconcealable joy, and she shouted towards Chen Beiyuan, who was walking in front of her. But the next moment, she was stunned. The joy on her face was stagnant, and her dark hair was slightly blown by a gust of breeze. I saw that Chen Beiyuan didn't even stop or look at her. He just passed her by. They were like strangers in two worlds. Just when Chen Beiyuan stepped into the gate of the academy and was about to walk inside, he suddenly felt his clothes tighten behind him, frowned, and stopped. Let go. I won't let go. Leng Ruobing, who was holding the corner of his clothes, had a face full of grievances. His eyes were filled with tears, and he looked at the heartless man in front of him with a trembling voice. Chen Beiyuan, I can apologize to you for what happened before. I know I was wrong. I can pay the price for the wrong things I did before. As long as you let the Leng family go, let go. Leng Ruobing, do you think the current situation of the Leng family is caused by me? Chen Beiyuan looked stern and directly interrupted what Leng Ruobing was going to say next. Although Leng Ruobing had no words, her silence and pleading eyes revealed her true thoughts. Without Chen Beiyuan's signal, how could the Leng family be in the current situation? Seeing Leng Ruobing's expression, Chen Beiyuan's stern face turned into a strange arc, with a strong sense of ridicule and disdain. You're so childish. I can tell you clearly that from the beginning to the end, I did not instruct anyone to attack the Leng family. The Leng family's current situation is all your own fault. Do you know how many things the Leng family did before in the name of the Donghua Chen family? Buying and selling by force, killing people, arbitrarily enclosing land, attacking opponents, and jealousy. After a second-rate small family realizes that it has climbed into the Chen family, it can be arrogant and act wantonly? Over the years, many wealthy families have cared about the name of the Chen family and have chosen to be patient and give in, instead of having a direct conflict with the Leng family. However, this has only encouraged the Leng family's arrogance. Do you know that a few years ago, the Leng family even dared to claim that it was the first family among the top families? A second-rate family with only a 6th-grade war king and not even a 7th-grade war king dared to be so crazy? Who would do that? Do you have the courage to buy it? Do you know that just by saying this, you have offended all the wealthy families in Yinjing? If the sky is crazy, it will rain. If people are crazy, there will be disaster. What the Leng family is experiencing today is nothing but their own fault. After saying that, Chen Beiyuan ignored Leng Ruobing, who looked in disbelief and had a dull expression. He directly waved his hand and pulled back the corner of his clothes and walked forward without looking back. Leng Ruobing couldn't stand still and was taken down to the ground. There were red marks on her white knees and the palms of her hands. Her hair was messy and she was very embarrassed. The whole person seemed to have lost his soul, muttering to himself, "It's your own fault. It's your own fault." She once thought that Chen Beiyuan was behind everything to get revenge on herself. But in the end, it was retribution for the Leng family's wanton behavior over the years. Everything is to blame. She had been standing on the edge of the abyss. At this moment, she seemed to be pushed hard by the cruelty of reality and fell directly into it. Chen Beiyuan ignored Leng Ruobing, who was doubting his life behind him, and strode forward. Lin Xiao, who was in a state of incompetent rage, happened to be standing in front of him. In this regard, Chen Beiyuan didn't mean to get used to it and just slapped him. A good dog stays out of the way. Snapped, snapped. Lin Xiao was knocked to the ground. The burning pain on his face instantly woke him up from his impotence and rage. He felt his head was buzzing and the left side of his face was swelling rapidly. The clear slap marks were deeply imprinted on his face like a branding iron. Puff. The strong smell of rust spread in the mouth, and the back molars were shattered into pieces, and they were spit out mixed with sticky blood. Lin Xiao was lying on the ground, breathing heavily, staring blankly at the broken teeth stained with blood on the ground. The severe pain on his face kept stimulating his nerves, making his dazed thoughts gradually clear up. Hiss. Lin Xiao never dreamed that Chen Beiyuan would be so arrogant and domineering. I just stood in front of him and got slapped in the face. My brain was buzzing and even my back molars were exposed. Isn't this bullying? You. Lin Xiao's eyes became vicious, staring at Chen Beiyuan, who was walking away, and wanted to curse and fight back. But the reason inside still suppressed the anger. If he really takes action, he will be the one who suffers. What's more important is that at this moment, He has been ordered to suspend his studies by the school, and it is impossible for the school to provide him with shelter. In the end, after a short weighing of the pros and cons, Lin Xiao, the miracle doctor protagonist, made some decisions that the Crooked Dragon King often made. Forbearance. Chen Beiyuan, today's shame will be repaid 100 times in the future. Lin Xiao once again burst into incompetent rage deep in his heart. The movement happening here naturally attracted the attention of many Donghua students. A pair of strange eyes were focused on Lin Xiao and Leng Ruobing at this moment, and some gossip began to appear. Lin Xiao only noticed Leng Ruobing's despair at this moment and couldn't help feeling happy. It has to be said that he still has love for Leng Ruobing in his heart. Although he had personally sent this woman to the bed of his enemy, this did not affect his love for Leng Ruobing. This is not contradictory. But now, Leng Ruobing was obviously at his weakest and most powerless, and needed him to rely on. Maybe he can still have a good and auspicious day tonight. Lin Xiao endured the severe pain on the swollen left side of his face and the mocking glances of the people around him, and slowly stood up and walked towards Leng Ruobing, who fell to the ground not far away and was lost. He stretched out his right hand and grabbed Leng Ruobing's wrist, trying to pull it up. He forced a smile on his face, trying to make his swollen, pig-headed face look handsome. "Ruobing, you didn't." Snapped. He also received a slap on the right side of his face. "Don't think I don't know your dirty thoughts." Leng Ruobing lowered his head, his dark hair covering his face, and slowly retracted his hand, ignoring Lin Xiao, who was frozen in place, and walked out of the school in despair. "Pftahahahaha. It made me laugh so hard. It's the first time I've ever seen someone rush to catch his mouth with his face. He acted like a pig just now. He knows what he wants to do. He really thinks other people are fools. This kind of brain is worthy of being an enemy of Mr. Chen. Do you know where he got his confidence before?" Lin Xiao, who was frozen in place, had his face swollen on both sides, very symmetrical, like a freshly baked pig's head. The unabashed ridicule and sarcasm of the people around him still echoed in his ears. Lin Xiao looked at Leng Ruobing's retreating back and felt that his anger was soaring towards Tianling Gai, almost crushing all his back molars. Be ****. Use your own good intentions to comfort you. You came up with a big mouth. At this moment, he was so angry that he wanted to run out of the school to argue with Leng Ruobing, but after hesitating again and again, he finally did not have the courage to step out of the school gate. Instead, he endured the frustration and ran towards the medical hospital. However, Lin Xiao did not notice it among the taunting crowd. At this moment, there was a pair of strange eyes staring at his figure, revealing a thoughtful light. I saw the Taoist figure quietly retreating towards the corner, took out his mobile phone and dialed a special number. After being connected on the other side, his tone became respectful. "Young Master Lin." For a moment, I couldn't tell whether Lin Xiao was taking the Miracle Doctor script or the Dragon King script, but he was so tolerant. Chen Beiyuan smiled and shook his head. Obviously, he also had a panoramic view of the situation just now. In the original work, the protagonist, a miracle doctor who was extremely resourceful and good at forbearance, has almost collapsed after being suppressed one after another by him. But what does that have to do with him? After he has squeezed all the use value out of the protagonist, the miracle doctor, he will naturally chop off his head and play it as a ball. While thinking, Chen Beiyuan walked into the depths of the school, the most majestic building, and came to the office of the most mysterious president of Donghua University, who rarely appeared in front of students. Boom, boom, boom. "Please come in." A deep and thick magnetic voice came from inside, carrying a majesty that had been in a high position for a long time and was not angry. Chen Beiyuan looked calm, opened the door, and walked in directly. In the spacious office, a middle-aged man with white temples, a Chinese character face, a stern smile, and a slightly serious look was sitting behind his desk, flipping through and signing some documents. This person is the mysterious principal of Donghua Academy, Jiang Bai. The surname Jiang is a very special surname in the Donghua Empire, because this is the surname that belongs to the imperial family. The Jiangbai in front of him was not only the principal of Donghua Academy, but also a powerful 8th grade emperor. He is also the younger brother of the emperor of Donghua Empire, an imperial prince. This is why Chen Beiyuan said that the imperial family was behind Donghua Academy. Principal Jiang, Chen Beiyuan said with some respect. For an 8th grade war emperor, the necessary respect is still required. Beiyuan, don't be restrained. Sit down for a while first. Jiang Bai raised his head. His tone was unexpectedly friendly, and he pointed to the sofa next to him, indicating that he would wait a moment while he finished what he was doing. Okay, Principal Jiang is busy first. Chen Beiyuan was not surprised and sat directly on the sofa generously. As the heir to the top family in the empire, Chen Beiyuan had naturally met Jiang Bai. 6 years ago, Chen Beiyuan was specially recruited into Donghua Academy, and it was Jiang Bai, the 8th grade war emperor, who personally came to talk to Mr. Chen. Otherwise, the Chen family had no intention of letting Chen Beiyuan enter Donghua University from the beginning. Naturally, there were some episodes at that time. For example, Jiang Bai said at the time that the imperial royal family intended to engage a princess to 12-year-old Chen Beiyuan to achieve a marriage. However, Mr. Chen did not agree at that time, but chose to marry the Donghua Bai family. Otherwise, Chen Beiyuan at this moment can almost be said to be a family member of the imperial family. Chen Beiyuan was not surprised that the imperial royal family wanted to marry the Chen family. As the leader of the imperial military, the Chen family of Donghua holds the biggest gun in their hands. If the imperial royal family has no ideas, then it's really evil. In fact, apart from the imperial royal family, who among the top aristocratic families at that time did not want to marry with the Chen family? Apart from anything else, with the talent that Chen Beiyuan showed at that time, an 8th grade war emperor will be indispensable in the future. The position of the head of the Donghua Chen family has also been reserved in advance. Once the marriage is successful, her daughter will basically become the mistress of the Chen family. Who wouldn't be tempted? However, Chen Beiyuan doesn't know why Mr. Chen did not agree to the marriage from the imperial royal family, but chose the one from the Bai family of Donghua. After all, the reason for this was not pointed out in detail even in the original work. If you want to know the truth, I'm afraid you have to ask the old man yourself. Of course, as the head of the Chen family, Chen Zhiqing may also know something. In contrast, it was his client who had a fiancée in a daze. By the way, my fiancée seems to be 8 years older than me. Is this an old cow eating young grass in disguise? Chen Beiyuan recalled the memories of childhood in his mind, and the corners of his mouth twitched. 6 years ago, he broke through the 4th grade general. At the age of 12, he had just finished his boring training. He was bored and walking around with a little black dog, but he happened to meet a pair of long legs. Looking up, I happened to see a fair-skinned, beautiful, long-legged elder sister who was full of royal style. The other party was also condescending at that time, carrying his own murder weapon, with a huge sense of oppression, looking at him carefully, with a faint smile on his face, as if he even licked his red lips. One is a 12-year-old young lady, and the other is a 20-year-old elder sister. Not only was there an 8-year age difference between the two, but Chen Beiyuan was also a lot shorter than the other person at that time, and everyone had to look up. That was the first meeting between the two parties. The big sister at that time smiled, reached out and touched his head, and gave him a lollipop. At that time, when the two met for the first time, Mr. Chen and Mr. Bai were still looking at each other quietly not far away, muttering in their mouths, not knowing what to say. However, at that time, Chen Beiyuan only wanted to take the little black dog for a walk, and he didn't think much about it. I vaguely remember that the lollipop at that time seemed quite sweet and delicious. I bought it with just a lollipop. Children are really easily satisfied. However, my fiancée seems to be one of the lucky heroines in this world, and she has some restraints on my destiny as a villain in terms of ability. Just when Chen Beiyuan lowered his eyes slightly and fell into thinking, Jiang Bai, who was sitting behind his desk, had almost finished processing all the files on hand and put the files aside. The subtle sound also brought Chen Beiyuan's thoughts back. Beiyuan, what are you thinking about? You are so lost in thought. It's nothing, Principal Jiang. I just thought of some cultivation matters." Facing Jiang Bai's cordial inquiry, Chen Beiyuan also responded with a smile. "To be honest, since the establishment of Donghua Academy, I have seen a lot of prodigy monsters, but in terms of single-round potential, no one can compare to you, the 18-year-old 5th-grade War Master. Well, the Emperor still wanted to by marrying Yunhua to you, you and I should have become a family." Jiang Bai sighed, with a trace of regret on his face. "Thank you, Principal Jiang, and Your Majesty for your love and respect for Beiyuan. However, this matter was decided by the old man of the family himself, so Beiyuan can only obey it." Chen Beiyuan also sighed helplessly, looking like he couldn't help himself. He didn't believe that his old man would harm him. There must have been other reasons for not choosing to marry the imperial royal family back then. There is no need to step into the pit yourself. In the original work, the behemoth imperial royal family has always been invisible, hidden behind the scenes, sitting back and watching the storm and rarely taking action. Even if he takes action, he only mediates the conflicts between the various forces, acts as a referee, and never favors anyone too much. The more so, the more unusual it appears. Seeing Chen Beiyuan move his old man out as soon as he opened his mouth, he looked like he would not let any oil or salt in, and no water would leak out. Jiang Bai also secretly cursed the little fox, and immediately put away some small thoughts. Mr. Chen is the white jade pillar that supports the sky of our Donghua Empire and holds the purple golden beam across the sea. He should also have his own considerations. Forget it, let's not mention this matter for now. Let's get down to business first. Jiang Bai opened the cabinet, took out a rusty token engraved with a blood dragon totem, placed it in front of Chen Beiyuan, and said slowly, "This is the reward for this academy competition, the token that opens the mysterious secret realm. That secret realm is extremely special. It contains a dragon blood pool, made from a drop of the blood of the 8th-grade ferocious beast, the evil dragon emperor." However, after years of investigation by the Empire, it was found that the essence and blood that condensed the dragon blood pool was not simple. It should be a drop of natal dragon blood. The natal dragon blood is extremely important to the dragon race, and it may contain some of the inherited memories of the dragon race. Dragon race cannot force out the natural dragon blood until the moment of life and death. In this case, the 8th-grade ferocious beast, the bloody dragon emperor, must have died. Unfortunately, the Empire searched the entire secret realm but could not find the body of the bloody dragon emperor. Speaking of this, Jiang Bai also felt a little regretful. The price of the carcass of an 8th-grade ferocious beast can be imagined, especially a powerful beast with pure dragon race bloodline. With an existence of this level, ordinary 8th-grade war emperors would not dare to confront it head-on and could only avoid its sharp edges. Even if several 8th-grade war emperors join forces, they may not be able to hunt it down. The precious materials such as dragon scales, dragon horns, and dragon teeth on its body can probably be used to refine several 8th-grade magic weapons. You know, even some 8th-grade war emperors may not have 8th-grade magic weapons. Back then, when the imperial royal family discovered this mysterious secret realm, it could be said that they were overjoyed, like pie in the sky. Unfortunately, after years of searching and countless manpower and material resources spent, not to mention the remains and body of the bloody dragon emperor, not even a single dragon hair was found. Although the dragon blood pool is strange, it takes decades to accumulate before it can be used once. What makes people even more speechless is that after the dragon blood pool is opened, the energy contained in it flows away very quickly, as if the dragon blood pool is inherently defective. It can be said that this thing is now in the hands of the imperial royal family and is a tasteless existence. It is tasteless to eat, and it is a pity to discard it. Call it useless, it is still somewhat useful. At least it can strengthen the physical body. Call it useful, but its usefulness is limited. Before you can absorb much of the benefits, most of the energy is lost involuntarily. It is precisely because of this that the imperial royal family took it out as a prize in the academy competition. Anyway, this thing only has one last use right left. After using it, the entire secret realm will collapse. Hearing this, Chen Beiyuan's mind felt buzzing. These things were never mentioned in the original work. If Zhang Bai hadn't taken the initiative to mention it, he might not have known anything. Anyway, Beiyuan, after you enter, absorb the energy of the dragon blood pool as soon as possible. It will always be of great benefit to you. With a strong body, it will be a little less difficult to break through the 6th grade War King. I understand, Principal Jiang. Beiyuan will keep your kindness in mind. Chen Beiyuan knew very well that the reason why Zhang Bai told him so much and so thoroughly was because he wanted to sell him a favor. Not everyone is qualified to let an 8th grade war emperor take the initiative to sell favors. At least, Zhang Bai never told Son of Fortune Lin Xiao these things in the original work. When the difference in strength is too big, the other party can still be amiable and explain the reasons in detail to you without any pretense of being a strong person. It can be said that it is already quite a favor and even wants to sell you a favor. As for this favor, if you are not at a certain level, you are not qualified to accept it. Of course, if the strengths are equal, then this is not a favor, but a fear of offending others. You gave me such a tasteless thing, and you still want a favor? If you don't fall out, it all depends on your backstage toughness. At this moment, Chen Beiyuan is naturally the former. After thanking Principal Jiang again for his guidance, he directly activated the rusty token in his hand. Tear it apart. As a burst of space ripples appeared, Chen Beiyuan, holding the Blood Dragon token, was directly transported to the Blood Dragon's secret realm. When he looked up, what he saw was a primitive forest that was hazy, dark, and terrifying, full of dead silence, and occasionally stirred up by strange cold winds. There seemed to be faint cracks in the bloody sky, which gradually expanded, as if it would collapse at any time. A strong smell of blood filled the air, along with a smell of rust and rot. Behind Chen Beiyuan, there is a scarlet blood pool as huge as a lake at this moment. It is surprisingly the dragon blood pool that has been mentioned many times and contains the blood of the 8th grade ferocious beast, the Dragon Emperor's natal dragon. This is Secret Realm? It's just a small world. Chen Beiyuan ignored the dragon blood pool behind him, but instead looked at the surrounding environment with interest. The existence and origin of Secret Realm is difficult to verify at specific time. Maybe hundreds of years, maybe thousands of years, maybe tens of thousands of years. However, the only thing that can be verified at present is that before Secret Realm appeared, there were no ferocious beasts, no alien races, and no body refining system in this world. When Secret Realm suddenly came to this world one by one, in addition to bringing countless powerful beasts and alien races, they also brought the body refining system of human race. To this day, no one can decipher the origin of Secret Realm and the secret behind it. However, because Secret Realm mostly contains rich resources and hidden opportunities, the top forces in the human race regard Secret Realm as a mobile treasure house. Perhaps for ordinary people, the Secret Realm, full of unknown dangers, is hell, but for the strong, it is just nutrition to enhance their own heritage. Among those top forces, who doesn't have their own Secret Realm? Naturally, the Donghuaqin family also has them. However, Chen Beiyuan has never entered. Before, he spent most of his time practicing in seclusion and meditating on the prison-suppressing demonic sutra. Even when he was pursuing Leng Ruobing, he still did not fall behind in his training progress. Otherwise, it would be impossible to become a 5th grade warrior at the age of 18. Just when Chen Beiyuan was looking around with interest, the blood-colored lake behind him, which had been calm all this time, suddenly began to show signs of movement. Naturally, this subtle change cannot be hidden from Chen Beiyuan. When he turned around and looked around, he happened to see the scarlet blood water in the huge lake begin to change strangely. The blood pool that was supposed to be scarlet actually began to glow with golden light and gradually expanded and spread as if it came to life. The stench of blood that filled the air also began to change, as if it had a strange aroma. It makes people feel that the blood all over their body is beginning to feel restless. A terrifying dragon power and a huge pool of golden blood erupted, sweeping across the entire Secret Realm instantly. Vaguely, Chen Beiyuan seemed to hear a vast dragon roar that penetrated the sky and the earth. Dragon blood pool has begun. According to what Jiang Bai said, although the dragon blood pool is special, its effect is not as great as imagined. At most, it can strengthen the physical body and reduce some obstacles to break through the 6th grade War King. But in the original work, Lin Shao got a lot of benefits from the dragon blood pool and realized the divine ability of a powerful beast. This means that the dragon blood pool in front of you may still hide some unknown secrets, and it is very likely that they will appear when this secret realm is opened for the last time. Although it is unclear whether Jiang Bai has any special means to check the specific situation of this secret realm, for the sake of safety, it is better to cover it with war spirit. Chen Beiyuan raised his eyes and looked at the bloody sky. There seemed to be some unknowable, invisible, terrifying existence deep in his eyes that began to wake up and gradually came. Suddenly, the scarlet sky was gradually shrouded in pure darkness, and a huge, twisted crack appeared from the sky, like a pair of eyes that had opened a slight gap. This scene is very similar to the vision of heaven and earth that occurred when Chen Beiyuan was born. At the same time, this is not even detected by the defying the heavens and changing fate system, and it belongs exclusively to Chen Beiyuan, the destined villain's top fighting spirit, the Abyss. In 18 years, this is the first time that Chen Beiyuan has manifested his mysterious fighting spirit. However, for the sake of the next secret and possible opportunities, he could only choose to cover the entire secret realm, and at the moment when the entire secret realm was enveloped by the abyss, Jiang Bai, who was in the principal's office of Donghua University, suddenly raised his head and clearly felt that a trace of his spiritual imprint left in the secret realm had been cut off, with a look of surprise and curiosity on his face. How could a mere 5th grade War Master have such ability? After pondering for a while, Jiang Bai shook his head and gave up some of his thoughts. With his cultivation level, he can naturally tear open the existence that covers the secret realm and find out what's going on. But that would definitely alarm Chen Beiyuan, who was bathing in the dragon's blood. At that time, it will be a naked feud. It's really not cost-effective to just sell a favor and then become an enemy. He is not afraid of a mere Chen Beiyuan. But the Donghua Chen family behind it is not someone to be trifled with. In particular, the Chen family is famous for being protective of calves. That's all. Secret Realm. After Chen Beiyuan made all preparations, he took off his clothes, revealing his fair and strong skin. He stepped step by step towards the golden blood pool in front of him and started to run the prison-suppressing magic sutra, absorbing the dragon tyrannically. The terrifying energy contained in the blood pool strengthens the physical body. In an instant, a terrifying pain like 1,000 cuts appeared in his body, and the skin on his body began to appear cracks under the bath of terrifying dragon blood. This is clearly the effect of bathing in dragon blood. At this moment, Chen Beiyuan could naturally feel that the energy contained in the dragon blood pool was being lost inexplicably. Obviously, what Jiang Bai said before was true. For this reason, Chen Beiyuan did not hesitate to operate the prison-suppressing demonic scripture to its peak, and the overbearing demonic energy crazily absorbed the violent energy. At the same time, the dragon blood Dao fruit that had been placed in the system space was also taken out, stuffed directly into the mouth, and swallowed together with the core. In an instant, Chen Beiyuan felt as if he had swallowed a ball of hot lava, with madness burning inside his body and melting his internal organs. He subconsciously wanted to scream, but was suppressed by his steely will. Soon, with the blessing of dragon blood Dao fruit, Chen Beiyuan felt that the speed of absorbing dragon blood instantly increased by more than 100 times. The physical body is also increasing at an unreasonable speed. The whole person also fell into a mysterious state. At this moment, Chen Beiyuan absorbed the dragon's blood much faster than the energy of the dragon's blood pool disappeared inexplicably. However, what Chen Beiyuan didn't know was that at the moment he took out the dragon blood Dao fruit, just now, there was a sudden movement in the blood soil deep under the dragon blood pool, as if something was exposed. That looks like a round egg.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe.